This year, Abdullah decided to perform Umrah with his wife. During the flight, the pilot announced that the plane was about to enter the miqat of Ihram. After this announcement, Abdullah started preparing to assume Ihram. Hajj and Umrah has 5 miqat places that may not be passed without Ihram. These are Dhul Hulayfa, Zat Irq, Qarn al-Manazil, Yalamlam, and Al-Juhfa. If one crosses miqat without assuming Ihram, then he has to return to it and assume Ihram there. If he does not return, then he is liable to an expiation, which is slaughtering an animal, a sheep, and distributing its meat among the poor of the Haram, the holy mosque. Upon reaching the miqat, it is a sunnah for the one intending to perform Umrah to remove the hair from his underarms as well as pubic hair, cut his nails, take a bath, and perfume his body, but not his clothes of Ihram. Then he wears the clothes of Ihram. These are called a rida, upper body cover, the izar, lower body cover. Head for men should be uncovered, and footwear can be sandals or slippers where majority of the foot is apparent. As for women, they wear their normal clothes except for the niqab and gloves. After Abdullah prepared himself for Ihram, he recited the intention, Labbaik Allahumma Umrah, which means, "Oh Allah, I answer your call to perform Umrah." Then they started to recite the Talbiyah along with other pilgrims on the plane. Talbiyah should be recited individually. Abdullah then started to remember the forbidden matters during Ihram. It is impermissible to remove any hair of the body or cut nails, perfume the body or the garments of Ihram, cover the head, wear something stitched according to the size of the body organ, have intimate relationship or caress with lust, conclude a marriage contract, propose to a woman, harm or kill animals. They head towards the sacred house of Allah. Before starting the tawaf, they stopped reciting the talbiyah. They headed towards the corner of the black stone. Abdullah uncovered his right shoulder and placed the right side of his rida, the cloth, under his arm. When they reached the black stone, they only pointed to it and said, Allahu Akbar, or Bismillahi Allahu Akbar. Then they started tawaf from the black stone. Tawaf consists of 7 circuits that also end at the black stone. In the first 3 circuits, the pilgrim walks quickly with short steps, which is known as rumble, and that is for men, not women, if it is feasible to do so. During the tawaf, he may supplicate and say any dhikr, the remembrance of Allah, that he or she wishes to say. Abdullah knew that whenever he is beside the Yemeni corner, the corner before the black stone, it is a sunnah to touch it with his hand without kissing it, and that if he cannot do so, he should move on without pointing to it. It is also a sunnah that when Abdullah would reach the Yemeni corner, from there onwards until reaching the Hijr Aswad, the black stone place, he would read this dua, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. After reaching the black stone, you have completed the first circle of tawaf. Now you will face the black stone with hand pointing to it and say Bismillahi Allahu Akbar or Allahu Akbar for your second round. You would now make any dua that you would like to make in this tawaf. Like the first one, when you will reach the Yemeni corner, from there until the black stone you will make the dua رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. You will follow the same circuit 7 times. He was also keen not to perform the tawaf inside Hijr Ismail because it is part of the Kaaba. Entering it renders the circuit of tawaf incomplete and unavailing. At the end of the 7th circuit, you should not raise your hand as it is done only at the start of the circle. Abdullah covered his right shoulder and went behind Maqam Ibrahim, the standing place of Ibrahim alayhi salam, to perform the 2 rak'ah of tawaf. One can recite Surah Al-Kafirun in the first rak'ah and Surah Al-Ikhlas in the second rak'ah. After praying the 2 rak'ahs, on their way they drank from the water of Zamzam as instructed by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abdullah headed towards the place of Sa'i, going back and forth between Mount Safa and Mount Marwa. Then they ascended to As-Safa, and upon this recited the verse in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, Inna as-Safa wal-Marwata min sha'airillah. Indeed, As-Safa and Al-Marwa are among the symbols of Allah. Then they stood to supplicate Allah while facing the Kaaba. It was the practice of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he would read this dua. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. La ilaha illallah wahdahu anjaza wa'dah wa nasara 'abdah wa hazama al-ahzaba wahdah. After saying this dua in Arabic, you can make any dua you want to make for yourself or family members. Once completed, it was the practice of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that when he would read this dua in Arabic again. Once completed, he would make dua for his family members, for himself, and so forth. And once you have made your duas and completed, you would read the dua third time. And then after completing it, you would start your walking between Mount Safa and Marwa, walking while reciting zikr and supplicating with whatever supplications that he could. Then Abdullah ran between the two green marks placed between As-Safa and Al-Marwa. When they reached Al-Marwa, they completed one of 7 lengths. They repeated the same dua as said at Safa without reciting the verse. Then they returned to As-Safa in the same way and repeated the same till they completed the 7th round. They ascended to Al-Marwa without saying anything, and that is how they completed their sa'i. After the sa'i, Abdullah shaved his hair while his wife cut the length of her fingertip from all the sides of her hair. Abdullah and his wife completed the rituals of Umrah, hoping that Allah Almighty would accept it from them and reward them for it with the best reward.